All right, guys, so on this episode of Future Now, we're going to be up on Clubhouse. We've been messing with it quite a bit, trying to figure out exactly what we're doing on it with Sabre, me for my personal brand, and then, of course, with the Digital Army. So check it out.
Did you catch that? My price still going up like NASDAQ. We send shots, make them duck like Affleck. All this fake news, can we bring the facts back? Never backtrack, still on the up and up. And nobody catching up to us. Every time we double down, then we double up. So if we keep winning, can you really call it luck?
All right, guys, so welcome to the Clubhouse episode of Future Now. So about beginning of January, I'm traveling with my family in Florida, and Beth Azor, the most innovative person in retail real estate, decides to send out an email to the Digital Army. Guys, there's this thing called Clubhouse. You have to check it out. It's a game changer. So what do? We check out Clubhouse. Now, mind you, I'm traveling for the month, basically, with my family based out of Florida. And when you're doing that, you're out of your routine. I don't have the same freedom that I would have otherwise if I'm sitting here in this office with my team, able to create content and jump on these platforms. But that ended up being a good thing because I was trying to figure out exactly what this thing was. What is Clubhouse? What should I be using it for to develop my personal brand? What should Sabre be using it for to push our message and culture and community further and wide? What should the Digital Army be using it for? And all of those things started to play out. Clubhouse, for those of you who are not on it, is a audio-only platform that has a very low barrier to entry to get into the platform, aside from having to get an invite to actually come on board initially. But what I mean by low barrier to entry is you're not creating content. You're just showing up. You're watching, you're listening, you're raising your hand, you're jumping into this kind of interactive podcast, which is a way that I've described it in the past. But as I start to use the platform more and more, it's almost like a virtual dinner party where you're having conversations with the group of folks that are on the panel, and then ultimately either opening it up for everybody in the room or one by one kind of inviting people up to ask questions and have more of a conversation. I've enjoyed using it more from that standpoint, where I'm having a discussion with the other moderators and hosts on a panel, almost like a fireside chat, and then opening up the room for Q&A as time goes on. I'm keeping my format to about an hour, which I think is great to do that. I'm trying to have dialogue for the first half hour and opening up the conversation with the rest of the group in the chat for the second half hour. Judy Fox, the one and only Judy Fox, realized that you could also use LinkedIn to promote your panel discussion, your room on Clubhouse. There's a whole bunch of different other stuff with Clubhouse that I'm not going to go into, as far as signing up to get a club and holding rooms under other clubs, things of that nature. I would ask you guys to pay attention to the 11 a.m. CRE Digital Army chats that happen on Clubhouse on Fridays. Again, Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where we're basically having different members of the Digital Army are hosting that weekly Friday discussion on different topics, and the Digital Army folks are well versed in the topics that they're discussing, and it's several people. So I think that format is really good for your education and ability to jump in and ask questions and learn more about the topic. I see a lot of people really doing a great job with the platform, and I think everybody needs to understand exactly what their strategy is for using Clubhouse. But I will tell you, it's a very, very unique platform. Currently, audio is amazing. You could be in the kitchen cooking dinner for your family. You could be working out at the gym or on a treadmill. You could be in your pajamas and nobody cares. It's not video. So I think a lot of folks that are heavy in the LinkedIn scene and not using as much video are going to love this platform. Again, the early adopters of technology and social media in commercial real estate are already on the platform, enjoying it, having a great time. And I welcome all of you to jump in, and I'm going to give you guys a little lens into a few of the discussions that I'm having this week, and hope you're able to catch them. And if not, you'll see clips of them here in this video, and if you want to listen to the entire episode, you can find them on the Sabre Audio Experience, anywhere that you can find podcasts. So, Clubhouse, here we go.
It's just it was a weird, kind of sad thing walking around and seeing even just the vacancy within the mall was high, and a lot of who was open were like these mom and pop tenants, like the off-brand suit and tuxedo guy for formals and that kind of thing. Like, just really, it was a weird experience. And a couple of years ago, I mean, that's a thriving mall. So kind of sad, just, not to depress you, Jay, or anybody else, but I thought it was worth mentioning.
Well, it is worth mentioning because, I mean, without like all jokes aside, there are depressing stories in the world of retail real estate. I think, there's a major transition, obviously, that we're all going through. I think it's like I said, transitional in nature. So it's not for the folks like us who focus, on retail and understand what's going on. It's really not depressing. It's actually it's kind of exciting, actually. Because again, like when you look at a property like that, there's a lot of potential, obviously, and of course, there's going to be properties that sit in disrepair and are an eyesore for a long time before they get repurposed, because clearly there's not the same need for retail the way that there was 20 years ago in some cases, right? So the actual nature of the property will change, potentially, depending on, obviously, on a case-by-case basis. But I think that's overall exciting. It's funny because when I go to when I have conversations with friends who are not in our space, that are not, retail real estate professionals or in retail, they have a much different picture of, retail is dead or dying. And, we all know that's not the case. We just, understand that the same damn store selling the same yellow sweater on every corner, is not necessary anymore, because of the fact that you could just buy things on the internet, right?
Well, and I'll add an extra tidbit to that. So amongst the stores that were open and actually had people in them, you had Tilly's, PacSun, Zoomies, and Vans, all of whom are selling very similar clothes, and actually Vans clothing and shoes is sold at all four of those. So it was just very weird to me to see like those were the stores with like people shopping and being active outside of like Apple and Lululemon, perhaps. And it's all like, the teenage crowd or people in their late 30s like me who think that they're in their 20s.
Guys, so we love, obviously, adding value to others, and feel free to raise your hand, or Kyle and I could sit here just, adding value to others for the rest of the week. But would love to hear your guys' thoughts. If we could answer any questions for you, if you want us to, give you some feedback on your Instagram, profile, or however we could add value.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to spitball back and forth with you, but a lot of these rooms have been successful because people, I think, have jumped up. What's up, Braden? How are you?
Doing good, guys. How are y'all?
All right.
Doing well, man.
Great. I'm out of Greenville, South Carolina, focus on retail, restaurant, exclusive commercial real estate. Do a lot of landlord work right now, and just got a question regarding Instagram. I think from what I'm hearing and sort of what I'm seeing as a user, there's more value in stories itself versus hard post. on Instagram. I'm in a shop with some older veterans in the industry. So I'm trying to bring more of the social media platforms to our listings and to our rep assignments. And with that, I just, again, would like y'all's thoughts on, hey, hard posts versus stories. Kyle, what you were saying earlier, creating a story on a listing and, you know, just going outside the box rather than just posting a story with the flyer, you know, doing a video. You know, are you guys seeing more value there with the stories itself versus the hard post? And would just like some feedback and direction there.
I'll tell you what my tactic is, and it's sort of based on the philosophy that you really need to hit people over the head. So you can put up your hard post there of your property, or if it's a video, whatever that is, tell your little story in the text, but then make a video of yourself, maybe even at the property, and say, here I am, X, Y, and Z location. This is what's great about it. This is what's going on across the street. Here's why you should come here. And then say, if you guys want some more information, DM me. I have some details in the post and check it out. Boom, 15 seconds and you're done. You know, I think that sort of like all encompassing approach. I mean, and then not to mention that you could tweet that out. You could put it on LinkedIn. You could, you know, if you made a video, put the video on YouTube. And then that's how you really start to drown out the competition in terms of, you know, in terms of marketing a particular property.
Gotcha. Love it.
Yeah, I mean, I would just add on to that you know, the more people in our industry that are creating, you know, generic content and posting it on social media, you know, the less likely other people are to really truly pay attention to the content, right? So Braden, the same way that like in 1995, if you would have sent an e-blast to a whole bunch of people, your open rate would have been tremendous, right? Versus today, if you send an e-blast, you know, I would say the far majority of the people who get your e-blast are deleting it before they even read it. So, you know, that's going to start to happen on these platforms as well, which is why it's super important to develop a personal brand and build a community with your target audience in mind. And then in addition to that, I would suggest creating specific content for the use categories that you're interested in getting at that property, and then pushing that content out specifically to them through either, you know, targeted Facebook advertising or, you know, or just understanding how to get their eyeballs on it. But, you know, once you start to realize that you have to create specific content, you know, with context for your audience. Everything can't be so super generic, and it's got to be entertaining, most importantly. If you're, I haven't looked at your Instagram, but if I was to go look at your Instagram and it was a whole bunch of specific, you know, pictures of properties or, you know, walking through a space in a super generic way, you know, it's not really going to get through the noise, so to speak.
So that's a great idea. Appreciate that, guys.
For sure, man.
Yeah, you know, in that, you know, like I think what people miss is, like, I haven't done it yet because I keep forgetting, but like when you go into a property, you could do a 15-second, like whatever the aspect of that property that is typically a concern, like a restaurant would be a grease trap or accessibility or whatever those hot button issues are that you typically have to address. You can literally go there and say, I'm at this place. It's a second-gen restaurant. Look, I know you guys are concerned about the grease traps in these places. Take a look at this one. Brand new, whatever. That's another little piece. Now you're done. 15 seconds, boom. And then that you can post that on Reels. You can post that anywhere and get 1,000 views, you know, in a day. And I think it's highlighting that and telling those kind of stories is what really makes it, you know, what makes social media appealing. You know, much more engaging, obviously, than getting, you know, 50 emails a day of property availabilities.
For sure. It's a great point. Excellent.
Awesome, guys. Well, I appreciate the input.
Yeah, of course, man. Keep up the great work and feel free to reach out if we could help in any way.
Fake news, can we bring the facts back? Never backtrack, still on the up and up. And nobody catching up to us. Every time we double down and we double up.